Mrs. Albright's dismay, when the Palestinian leader arrived in Paris, his first call was on the French president. Barak had to follow suit, although the Israelis believed that Chirac was on the side of the Palestinians.
Barak n'était pas très content d'être obligé de venir à Paris, mais il avait besoin de Clinton, donc de Madeleine. Madeleine avait insisté, et donc il est venu.
The protagonists assembled at the residence of the US ambassador to France, American territory for an American-sponsored ceasefire.
The meeting really could not get started. There was a lot of fireworks between President Arafat and Barak. That animosity was very clear, and there was very little that we could move on.
פעם אחר פעם ברק אומר לערפאת, אתה מוכרח להורות לאנשים שלך להפסיק. עד שלא תעשה את זה, זה לא יקרה.
אמרתי לו, מיסטר צ'רמן, אולי אתה תרים עכשיו טלפון למרואן ברגותי ולחסן אל-שייח, ותודיע להם פה בנוכחותנו שאתה מורה להם להפסיק. ערפאת מסתכל עליי ואומר, בהבעה של אחד ששמע שמות של שני דובי קוטב. אז אני אומר לו בהתאמה במבטא ערבי, מרואן אל-ברגותי, ברותי. והוא מנסה לעשות עוד פעם דבר הזה, אבל האנשים שלו כבר מאחוריו לא יכולים להתאפק, והם פורצים בצחוק, כי ברור להם שהוא יודע, שאני יודע, שהוא יודע, שזה שני אנשים שמטעמו מארגנים את המהומות שם. ואז הוא עשה, כן.
As the session degenerated into point scoring, Mrs. Albright decided to talk to each leader separately.
She asked to be with Mr. Barak alone. And President Arafat stayed in the middle, looking at the paintings, looking at things, and then the minutes passed.
And I go to see Arafat just to sort of, and talk to him while this is going on. And he looks at me and he says, "You think I don't know what's happening?" And his voice is rising. "You think I don't know what's happening? I know why I'm waiting. I know that you're on the phone, and Barak is on the phone with Chirac to try to turn him against me, and I'm not going to go for this."
You expect that she finishes with Barak in a minute, in 2, in 3, in 4, did not, 5, 10, and then...
He just bolted out of the meeting, left, running through the stairs into his car, and Mrs. Albright just ran after him.
There is a cobblestone courtyard with big wooden gates at the end, and I'm running because Arafat is about to get into his car, and I'm running over this in my high heels, and I keep yelling, "Shut the gates, shut the gates."
President Arafat, she called. President Arafat, she yelled.
And then she ran towards the car, and she started banging in the window of the president.
I said, "Look, Mr. Chairman, we have come so far. We have gotten agreement on a lot of points. Please come back in."
He kissed her hand, and then they walked back in, and then they reconciled in the way, and then...
And we have very important discussions, and we arrived to very important platform.
The platform Arafat wanted raised was who was to blame for the latest outbreak of violence.
What Chairman Arafat wanted was an international commission to investigate the facts of what had really happened in terms of the way that the Intifada had started, who hit whom.
And the Israeli position was absolutely not. We're not going to internationalize this. We don't want the UN or anyone else involved.
By 11 that night, it was agreed the detail of the inquiry would be settled later. They were on the brink of a ceasefire agreement that could save Clinton's peace effort.
All of a sudden, I get a phone call from President Chirac, and he says, I think that, you are in my country, and protocol is very important, and I need to host you and the Prime Minister and President Arafat. And I said, "Mr. President," in French, "this is a very important moment. This is not a really good idea for us to come right now. We're about to finalize on this document."
President Arafat said, "We have to go. We have an invitation. He's the host."
When they arrived at the Elysee, President Chirac's whispered welcome only added to Secretary Albright's forebodings. But then she discovered that instead of the social occasion she was expecting, Chirac had had a table set up for a formal conference, including the UN Secretary-General, who'd been summoned from dinner with the French Foreign Minister.
Dès que Yasser Arafat prend la parole, il veut cette commission d'enquête, c'est pour lui un point fondamental. Et Barak refuse. Donc le président de la République, au nom du pays qui exerçait la présidence, a parlé de la commission d'enquête, mais pas comme condition préalable.
ואולברט אומרת לו, סליחה אדוני הנשיא, הנושא הזה ירד מסדר היום. אני אומר לך שיש נייר מוסכם.
I was very angry at Chirac, that's for sure. And I remember just kind of giving him the dirtiest look, thinking, you know, you broke an agreement here. This was not what this was going to be about.
Monsieur le Président, s'il vous plaît.
Est-ce qu'on peut avoir une photo, s'il vous plaît?
Monsieur le Président.
Worse was to come for the Secretary of State.
Sir, s'il vous plaît. Monsieur.
Instead of returning to the talks, Arafat set off for his hotel, leaving Albright stranded.
Mrs. Albright said, you promised me that you were going to stay.
So I ran after him, I opened the car door and I said, Mr. Chairman, you still have to initial the agreement. Please, you gave your word.
And he said, I am delivering my promise. I am leaving Nabil Shaat, my foreign minister, and so let it continue on foreign minister's level, and I will be in my hotel, and you can call me anytime.
There, we couldn't close any gates. We were at the Elysee, so basically he got into his car. He instructed the driver to go, and he said, go, and he left.
Arafat had escaped the attempt to pin him down to a ceasefire agreement without a full-blown inquiry. The Intifada continued. In the 10 weeks until Christmas, 268 Palestinians and 30 Israelis were killed. But President Clinton kept trying.
Merry Christmas, and let's light the tree. Thank you very much.
A month before he left the White House for good, Clinton summoned the Israeli and Palestinian negotiating teams one last time.
ונכנס קלינטון באיחור של דקה או שתיים, אני חושב, הוא נכנס כולו casual לגמרי, עם איזשהו פולו כזה אדום ומכנסי ג'ינס.
He was grim. I've never seen him so grim, like angry.
The text Clinton read out gave the Palestinians a state with a capital in East Jerusalem, and at last, sovereignty over Haram al-Sharif. But Israel kept the whole Western and Wailing Wall and what lay buried behind it.
I said, these are my parameters. I've been listening for months. We've been working for months. This is the best I can do.
If you accept them, you accept them. If you don't, they leave office when I do.
קם, אמר God bless you, ויצא מהחדר.
The Israeli cabinet soon accepted the Clinton parameters, as long as the Palestinians would as well. But secretly, they would hand over a long list of reservations.